I am in my Subaru and I paid for it and it is finally mine again. I don't have any of the filming equipment with me. I got a call when I was in class today and they just told me that my car was ready. So I just went after school to pick it up. It's a lot louder than I remembered it. Alright guys, so I got the car back at home and it actually is driving pretty well. I did not get an engine tune, unfortunately, just because they were having some issues breaking into the ECU, because it's still got the JDM ECU in it. So unfortunately it does not have an engine tune, so it's not running like completely perfectly. However, it's driving pretty well right now. So as far as what's different with the exterior of the car, really not much has changed. You can see that it's got different brakes on it. It's got the Brembos out of an STI on the back now, which do not match the fronts. So the fronts are like the whatever stop tag or whatever they were before when I got the car. And inside, of course, I've got the gauges here, boost gauge, oil temp gauge, and an air fuel ratio gauge there. It's glow shift. And got the pair and shift knob here. Had to have the 6-speed layout on it for my new 6-speed transmission. And I also got this bride shift boot that I have to throw on here pretty shortly. So really not much has changed with the interior other than the shifting stuff and the gauges here. This turbo timer here was actually super glued like this, which was, you know, my temporary solution. But in the heat, it fell off and now it's flopping around everywhere. Obviously, it needs a clean quite badly. But another thing is there was a little emblem on this speaker grill right here that fell off because of the heat, and it goes right there. So it's not really sticky enough anymore to go on there, but again, the heat just kills adhesives like this. I'll have to connect my gauges here. It's not really connected, it's just kind of sitting on here. None of the wiring is done either, so that's another project that we'll have to look forward to. The speedometer still does not work. If you looked in the last video, you could tell that the speedometer was 0 like the whole time I was driving it when I took it for a little test drive, and unfortunately it's still not hooked up, so I'm gonna have to hook that up. So the to-do list right now is button up the interior stuff that I showed y'all and get these gauges hooked up, do a couple of exterior things, and then that differential is a big one that I'm looking forward to. It's not sure how much it's gonna cost quite yet, but I'm not too excited about that. I'll eventually change the brakes here on the front to match the Brembos on the rear, but for right now I think I'm just gonna paint these guys gold, just so that they'll kind of look matching. But it's kind of weird because like the backs are like bigger than the front, so you know I'll have to work on that. And then I've also got some spacers to put on here. So right now I'm running 25mm spacers on there, and it's just poking out a little bit too far for me. I'm gonna put some 15s on there that I got, and we're gonna scoot the wheel in a little bit, and hopefully it won't rub anymore. It'll have nice fitment and we can lower it a little bit. One more thing that I almost forgot, I relocated the stock horn here and I put it in the grill and painted it gold so it looked kind of cool. And the stock wires that go to the horn, they don't reach with it located there, so I'm gonna have to splice that wire, extend it a little bit so I can hook up my horn. So the first thing I'm gonna do for right now is take this ugly tow hook off because it's really ugly and there's styrofoam up in there. And I'm just gonna put the cap back on and then try to clean some of this like tape residue stuff off. So next I'm going to work on the fitment in the rear and getting those 15s on to scoot those wheels in just a little bit more. Spacer. This is a 25mm. This stuck the wheel out a little bit too far. And this is the one we're putting on. It's like a 15. So you can already tell the difference. It's going to be a lot more tucked in there, but it'll be enough to get it away from the coil here so it doesn't rub on the coil. And we should be able to go a little bit lower as well with this new spacer setup. Alright, so I got all the suspension adjusted. I lowered it a little bit and made the spring tension a little bit higher, or the spring rate a little bit higher as well. I've got those ginormous spacers off of the car and I'm ready to drop it and see what kind of fitment we get. So the next thing I'm going to do today is try to install this shift boot because it's kind of ugly driving around with no shift boot and just an exposed shifter. So I'm going to try to get this guy onto here somehow, and I've got this plate that goes under it. And I've got some screws laying around. I don't know if I'll have to use them, but this is our next project for right now. So let's go ahead and do it. Okay, so apparently I found a way to break literally every single one of these clips, but I managed to get it in there nonetheless. Found some of these little like locking washers that go on these little plastic pegs, and those did the trick. As you can see, the clips that go on this plastic ring here are broken off, so they can't go around there. But I've got this thing actually pretty sturdy, and I did have to put a screw in here, but you really won't be able to see it just because it faces this way. You'd have to look behind there to be able to notice it. So overall, I think it's in there pretty well. I think it looks pretty nice. It's a good thing that I got all of the outside work on the car done already, because it's raining quite a lot now. So I also was able to super glue this guy back onto here. I just propped it up with this tow hook and a shift knob on the tow hook, which actually threads in perfectly for some reason or another. But the turbo timer is back where it's supposed to be, in there pretty well, and it's time to put in the rest of the dash and get the interior put back together. Got the shift boot all installed and ready to go. Looks pretty cool. So I got quite a bit of work done on the car today. I'm so glad to have it back. It's driving pretty well, but it still does need a tune. It's not completely ideal, and I really can't go like too hard on the car right now with this tune. But I'm super happy to have it back, and I'm really enjoying it. Got a lot of work done today, but there's still a lot more to do. So if y'all have any recommendations for what to do next, leave them in the comments below. If you liked the video, make sure to like, give me a big thumbs up, and hit that subscribe button in the corner for me. And as always, guys, take care and stay positive.